Good to be here with all of you. Good to be in this place of encouragement, this place of prayer, this place of connecting here. My heart, the heaviness of my heart, the loneliness that's inside of me right now in this quarantine, I have to share with you that, you helped me through it. All of your encouraging messages, the hearts, the thumbs ups, all of that has really just lifted my soul and helped me through this time. Living a life of service, the life of service that me and Monica have lived for the 4 years that we've been together now, and also the life that I lived, just basically my entire life, really, living a life of service. It's really about that form of sacrifice that gives the overwhelming reciprocity. I've come to the realization many years ago that my service is really my fulfillment. And in that place of giving that I feel useful. I feel like the voices inside of me, the condemnation, the critic, the humbler, all of that seems to fade into the practice of service. So thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to serve today, for giving me this vehicle here, for allowing me to come into your life and share a little bit of the knowledge and wisdom that I have received in my life through the practice of the Sacred Seven, through the practice of relational spirituality, through the readings and the podcasts and all of the information that I hope to give to you in a way of helping you in your process. And today I'm going to share with you this idea of relationships and the concept within this idea of languaging relationships in the eternal presence. And what does this mean, to be in the eternal presence of a relationship? Well, it really simply means that we are having a relationship with motherhood. We are having a relationship with fatherhood. We are having a relationship with our grandparents. We are having a relationship with the new people in our lives. We are having a relationship with our family. We are having a relationship with our community. We are having a relationship with the planet, the air, the water, the fire, the earth, gravity, time, and spirit. And this idea of being in relational spirituality creates a context of the eternal now in those relationships. And this is actually a very empowering and also a very powerful principle to apply in your languaging. Because in our life, we oftentimes will dismiss those key relationships to the divine masculine, the divine feminine, the idea of motherhood, fatherhood. We will dismiss them because of that vacancy of the individual in our life, or even because of the necessity of safe boundaries. Some of us know that we've lived through the process of abuse, of childhood neglect, of trauma, of addiction. All of these things are relevant to our current contemporary culture. And I know that I speak to many of you because you've sent messages to me and you've told me about how these processes are helping you understand how to navigate those relationships. So Monica has this great saying that she picked up through her self-studies and through her empowerment, that boundaries are an internal navigation system. And I feel that this is really important to understanding the power of relational spirituality and how in this moment we are having a relationship to our mom. What does that mean for those of us that our mom has passed on? What does it mean to our relationship with motherhood and the idea of the concepts within the divine feminine? Well, this is the important part of the process inside of this conversation, that you have a relevant relationship to the divine feminine, the divine masculine, to motherhood, fatherhood, and the inner child. Always. It is an eternal present relationship. And that relationship sometimes is working in the viral processing within our mind. And what do I mean by viral processing? Well, if you imagine yourself, right? And I use the analogy of the smartphone because it's something in our contemporary culture we can relate to. If you're like the phone, and each one of your emotions is like an application, and you are running this processing system every day with information that's coming in, information like me coming into your house right now, this emotional understanding of my representation in your life. There is a way of understanding this through the perspective of your optimal state of human design, and there is a way of perceiving me in your reality through the dysfunction and the viral processing. The viral processing is a processing that leads you to suffering. It is a narrative in your life that leads you to the process of suffering. When I say to you that you have an eternal relationship with motherhood, with the divine feminine, and you begin to create this idea inside of your mind of what your mother didn't do for you, how she didn't show up in your life, how she was abusive to you, how she was criticizing you, how she never liked your friends, how you could never do enough for her. All of this viral programming creates a disconnect in your relationship to the eternal presence of the divine feminine in your life and also to motherhood. Now, how do we begin to mother ourselves if we have these distortions in the viral programming and the viral processing of our reality? Well, it's very simple. It's very simple and very profound. It takes designing those relationships in a way that serves you. Designing the relationships in your life. We always talk about the metaphysical architecture in these live streams and in the videos that I share with all of you. The idea of the metaphysical architecture is the energetic manifestation and displacement of that which serves and no longer serves. The idea of good and bad energy is really perception, right? We're in the place of limitless perception, of understanding how we can manifest energy and also displace the energies that no longer serve us. This is the development of our conscious connection to relational spirituality. How are we relating to the divine feminine in our life? How are we relating to motherhood? How does that physical representation within the karmic consequences of your life, maybe you brought into this existence from your soul's evolution and opportunity to grow with a mother that would, in my case, take me out and use me to steal as a little boy. With a mom that would leave me at the park while she went to the drug house. You know, these ideas and these concepts within me, I could see how that viral programming was navigating my life and how every time a person came into my life that had love for me, that had an opportunity and even language and even like a goodness and a beauty and all of these things, I would dismiss those relationships. Are you living in a way when the relationships that you know are that place inside of your heart, and you look at it from this perspective of maybe the Creator God, that innate knowing inside of you, the divinity inside of you says jump, fall in love again, but there's a process inside of you that limits you. What is that processing? This is what I have banged my head against the wall for years trying to understand, because I know that in our contemporary culture, many of us are in that place of suffering. We keep on bringing in this gravitational energy that brings those individuals into our life that perpetuate the victimization of our reality. But yet, how do we free ourselves from the chains of captivity? And this is an important process of acceptance. It's an important process of learning to love the inner child that has fortified that gravity, has created that process of victim and shoved it down. Now, maybe you're saying to me, oh, well, I don't feel like I'm in a victim. Well, have you ever embraced your victim? Have you ever felt safe enough to feel into the victimization that has happened in your life? When we are honest and authentic in the space of our emotional understanding of who we are, there is a time to embrace the victim, to love that victim. I've done this in my own life. I've looked at little Andy, the little boy in me, the one that I know that I have a relationship to fatherhood because of how I fathered myself. I have a relationship to motherhood because of how I have mothered myself, how I showed up for the emotions and the nurturing, how I protected this little boy inside of me, and how I've given that little boy the ability to play in this world and to create and to have the ability to come on Facebook and vulnerability and intimacy. Many of you are sitting on a message right now. You're sitting on a message. You know that you need to begin to share your process. You've waited for that opportunity. And here this magnificent opportunity to enter into the theater of the quarantine And to know that there are people that will watch your message, but still you're paralyzed in the fear of being what you know yourself to be in that optimal state of design. Why is that happening? What is the paralyzation that is going on inside of you? We are in a place in which we are magnifying a culture that gives to us the opportunity of freedom, that gives to us the opportunity of sovereignty, that gives to us the opportunity of magnifying those relationships that break free the chains that bind us. I am here to support your transformational process. I'm here as a witness to the God living in me, seeing the God living in you, the namaste energy, the goddess living in you, the very power that allows for those chains that have broken you down and have kept you from sharing your message to the world, the medicine that you have. It's time to unleash that power of potential in you. It's time to embrace the victim, because we've been shoving that victim into the corner. We've been keeping her from allowing her voice to be said, because for so many years that little daughter inside was tormented by parents that came into her life and told her that she wasn't worth anything, that she wasn't worth the ability to even be heard at the dinner table. Some of you lived in that time. You lived through those parents that would say, oh, well, children don't need to be heard. They need to be seen. It's time for your child inside of you to feel free to play, to dance again, to sing again, to make music again, to be in your authenticity, your vulnerability. Your intimacy is your greatest gift in this world. Understand that you are enough, and that nothing in this world is going to hold you back from you being the person that you need to be, because guess what? We need you to be that person. The Creator, the universal consciousness has given you a voice. It's time to open up, to share on Facebook, to be out there in intimacy, to open up your Instagram, to make a video, to put out your YouTube. It's time for you to write the book that you've been sitting on. We are in a quarantine for a reason, because we are incubating a culture. The contemporary culture has no longer served the process of intimate relationships, of relational spirituality. We know that every system that is out there is broken and in need of mending. What is the ultimate mending? It is the mending of the hoop. Bringing us back to circle. Bringing us back to consciousness. Bringing us back to the ability to understand that we are here for a reason. And that reason is simple. It's for us to grow in our emotions, grow in our spirituality, be healthy again, have a hunger for good food, have a hunger for those foods that really nourish your body. How many of us are in that place where we eat and we feel tired? It's because we're eating foods that are not nourishing for our body, yet we become addicted to these ideas and concepts in our lives that this is what the human experience is about. It is not about being a slave. It's not about being so toxic that we have dysfunction inside of ourselves. That's not why we were created. We were created to allow ourselves to be in sovereignty, to step into the place of emotional sovereignty, to reach out for relationships, to be in a place in which we are able to navigate this existence and know that the star nations themselves, the sun is shining on your face for a reason. The wind is blowing through your hair because of your relationship to the elementals. Every single relationship in your life has meaning and purpose, and it is an eternal relationship that has been designed since the foundations of this creative force. I can't do it on my own. I can't create a culture on my own. It takes you stepping into that place. It takes you having the ability to understand yourself. The power and potential is in you. Listen to me for a second. Please. I know what it's like. I was in prison. I got a state number and a federal number. I sat there as the United States government told me that I was going to go away for years of my life. I remember being in school and the cops coming into my school and telling me if I had one drug addict parent in my family, I was 50% more likely to be a drug addict. I remember the police with their waving their flags and their banners telling this little boy that he was destined to become a drug addict. I know what it's like to watch my mother die of a cocaine overdose and my father to die of cirrhosis of the liver. I know what it's like to sit there and get high and drunk with my own father. To be birthed into a culture of failure, to receive an inheritance of trauma. Listen, I understand your pain. And I want you to know you're not alone. You're not going to hear from me this word of, oh, I can't imagine what you're going through. How many times has somebody said that to you? How many times have you said, I'm sorry for sharing my story? How many times have we been in a culture where our guilt and shame are magnified in our hearts because we simply open up to one another? What kind of culture tells children, what are you going to be when you grow up, like they're not enough already? What kind of culture perpetuates the idea of punitive justice when the recidivism rate is astronomically high? We are literally punishing people into captivity and slavery. We have people in prison that are in there for a herb, that are in prison because they have a need for emotional sovereignty. They are in prison because they have been hurting themselves with drugs and alcohol. We put people in prison that are hurting. How is this culture serving us? How is this culture serving the children that are dying every day of suicide, that are dying every single day of overdoses? How is it serving us? Look at the churches right now, $1 million buildings that are fucking empty. They're empty right now. There's no gardens. There's on the outside of those churches. They're not producing food. They're worthless buildings. This is not relational spirituality. The indigenous people of this earth, they say over and over again, all my relations. Why? So we can be in relationship. Understand all my relations, not as some t-shirt or some novelty saying. Understand it as your life. Understand that we are birthing a culture. There is something inside of you. The vision has not left you yet. And I'm not just going to sit here and not speak up. You know, I am drawn to this place. I'm drawn to being able to share with you from my voice. And the passion that is in me is not anger that is unjustified. The passion that is in me is real for the transformation because I come to this place as an eternal being and I have been in the future and understand this. Where we are going is better than where we're at, relative. Where we are going is better than where we're at. Just dream with me a minute. Imagine that every urban setting is creating food. Imagine with me that every building on the top of the building is a garden. Imagine with me that there are vertical gardens on every bank building in every downtown in every city. Understand hydroponic gardens. Understand vertical gardening. See the idea that one day the mono-agricultural system will be a thing of the past and every single stomach will be filled with good organic food. Understand that we are stepping into a time in which we realize the opportunity that technology has given us through 3D printing, through the ability to magnify and manifest energy for free. What happens to us when we step back into that place of the default settings? The default settings inside of you are the reason that you're gardening in your backyard right now. The default settings inside of you are the reason that you're going hiking, that you're out there working out because you innately want to be better. This incubation time of the quarantine, praise God that it'll be a time for you to see the vision inside of you. Let that be inside of you right now. Let the vision of the Most High, the eternal presence of the Holy Spirit be inside of you right now. Be not confused by the illusion of this religion that gives you nothing. Understand your relationship to the eternal presence of the I Am. Look at the buildings right now. Look at the multi-million-dollar church buildings that are empty. Why? Because they are useless. They're not seeing the vision of producing food. They're not seeing the vision of producing culture. What are they doing? They're concert venues. Are they transforming lives? Is there an opportunity for people to sit in circle and to talk with one another? We have to create that culture. We have to be the ones that will be the very voice of intimacy and vulnerability. We have to be the ones that will go forward into this place in which we design a culture of limitless potential. It is on the verge of manifesting. I can feel it in my bones. It's like electricity flowing through me right now. I hope you can receive that into your life. That you understand that the hope inside of us that draws us from the very depths of the darkness The hope for realization, the hope for manifestation, the hope for the ability to love boldly. To not just keep working in the viral programming of the dysfunction of this culture, but to realize the optimal state of design. It is a blessing to be here with you. So I wanted to share that much with you. I've seen a lot of buzzes coming through here, and I think that that's because I don't have my do not disturb on. Well, I got it on now. So we're going to go into that place of prayer. And as always, the prayer of gratitude is the magnification of the density of gratitude. And guess what? This is the place that miracles happen. I know some of you are struggling in your finances. I know some of you are struggling in your emotions. Some of you are going through the process of even feeling suicidal. I want you to know it's okay. You know, it's okay. I've been there before. There were times when I wanted to kill myself. I tried to kill myself. I'm a suicide survivor. You know, you're not alone. And if you need help from me, if you need help from Monica, please reach out. You know, if you need professional help, please reach out to the suicide hotline. Please reach out to find that emotional support. If you need someone to just pray with you, I'm going to pray with you right now. You know, I'm going to pray with you from my heart. Open myself up. I know we're struggling right now. A lot of us. You know, I know a lot of us are going through the guilt and the shame, and we're feeling things that we haven't felt in a long time. We're in a place of processing, and guess what? It's okay. You know, give thanks to the ancestors that gave us the drum, that gave us the instruments, that gave us the ability to utilize some expression. Emote, energy moving out through expression. Get that into your body. You know, if you just need to pound on the drum and the frustration of what's going on, do it. We are creating and understanding a culture that allows for that to happen. To bring back the dance, to bring back the song, to bring back the prayer. You know, to learn how to pray in this good way with this fireplace, with this medicine, this cedar right here. To know how to pray in your life in which you begin to understand that you are important. You mean something. You're not just a job. You are a child, a grandchild. You are of this earth. Every single one of you are an earthling, and this is our inheritance here. This beautiful land, these mountains, this water. To be able to swim again in the water and to feel free. Man, give thanks to that. Give thanks to designing a culture that prays together, that dances together, that sings together. Give thanks to this opportunity that we all have here. It's our time, relative. It's our time. You know, let's pray together. So I'm going to go ahead and light this coal and the cedar here and bless myself, bless you, all of that. Introduce myself here too. So, you know, I try to learn to practice introducing myself in the language of my ancestors. It's not a language that I grew up with, you know, it's a language that I had to teach myself, you know, and it feels good. It feels good to practice it and, you know, to use it. And I feel like, you know, somewhere down the line, it's making a difference in my ancestral. So, oh, also, if you, hold on for one quick second. So we started a new program, and this is, we're sending a book into the prisons. The book, The Sacred Seven, this is my journey with the traditional ceremonial introduction and the process of transforming your life through mental processes, through journaling, through really creating limitless potential. Through a lot of different practices are in this book. So it really gets to the basics of relationship with your mom, your dad, your grandmas and grandpas. And each one of them represents an idea for you to optimize your relationship. So we want to send this book into prisons, and we can't do it on our own. But if you go to our website and you purchase a signed copy of The Sacred Seven, every signed copy of the book gives us the ability to send another book to a prison or a prisoner. So if you purchase a signed copy, we will send another copy to a prison or a prisoner. Also, any size donation that you give, you will get a book. You'll get a version of the audio book sent to you. I'm still working on that. We should have it done by the end of the week. I'm very excited about that. So any donations that you give for partnering with this ministry, you will get those gifts back to you in reciprocity. So signed copy of the book, we'll be able to send a copy into the prison. If you want a copy of the book and you're not able to afford it, we can give you a free PDF copy just by going and signing up for our email list at thesacred7.com. And any size donation that you give to us, this is really one of the ways that we're supporting ourselves through this ministry of videos and reaching lives. So please go on and send us a Venmo or send us a PayPal. Any size donation, we'll send you the audiobook. All right, so time to pray and give thanks, and put some cedar down here. Bless ourselves. This little coal here, bless yourself. So I will open up the container of prayer. And as we work through the prayer, realize that I allow for the Holy Spirit to indwell in me. And as the Holy Spirit indwells in me, sometimes I'll be given a word of encouragement, sometimes a word of prophecy. Sometimes I work in the gift of speaking in a light language. This is a language that is beyond, I guess it's more of a spiritual understanding. So you may feel things in your body. You may feel the warmth of a presence, the hand of your ancestors. You might feel like a warm oil is pouring over you. People have told me that their feet have tingled, their hands have tingled. All of these things happen when we enter into this prayer place. It's a place of limitless potential, a place in which we are coming into relationship with the source energy. So I give thanks to that. Ooh, the cedar's really nice. And I also have some little bit of Palo Santo on there. So I'll go ahead and introduce myself here to the air, the water, the fire, the earth. So Dogate, Andrew Ecker, Yinishe, Adone, Nishinigi, Ide, Nishe, Irish Bashachin, Ide, Dashache, German Dashanali, Akote Go E Tashli, Portland, Oregon, Inisha, Shema Kathy Lindsay Woye, Shaza Dale Ecker Wole. My name is Andrew Ecker, my mother Kathy Lindsay, my father Dale Ecker, my mother's mother Elba Gallegos, Apache woman from New Mexico, my father's mother Evelyn Beatty, an Irish woman from Pennsylvania, my mother's father Leroy Lindsay, Apache man from Arkansas, my father's father Wayne Ecker, German and Algonquin from Pennsylvania. I have a daughter Bailey, a son Peyton, a beautiful beloved fiance Monica. I was incarnated into this body in Portland, Oregon, although I reside here in Phoenix, Arizona. Give thanks for you. Give thanks for this ministry, this opportunity to pray. So Father, Mother, Creator, Source, we thank you for this opportunity to pray into this place of gratitude, this place of transcendence, and this ability to give thanks for all that is and all that is yet to be. We thank you for the circle of light that protects us, that you have been a shield of faith to allow for us to enter into this prayer place, knowing that we are protected even from the arrow that flies by night, that you have blessed us with the grounding of a great tree planted by the stream of water, that we have found the source, and in this place of understanding the infinite source, that every need is met, that you are blessing us with an apartment complex to live in which we are debt-free, that you are blessing us with an apartment complex to live in that has fully self-sustaining ability, that produces its own electricity, that produces its own food, that gives a place for the elders and the children to play again, that gives us the opportunity to live in peaceful coexistence. We thank you for our home that we have right now. We thank you that you are moving in the seen and unseen parts, making a way for us, that you have blessed us with the relationship with the air, the water, the fire, the earth, that you have blessed us with our ancestors, our moms, our dads, our grandmas, our grandpas, our aunties, our uncles, our cousins, our sons, our daughters. We thank you for all of our relationships. We thank you for opening our hearts up to one another, that we may be in a place of limitless potential. We thank you that you have healed the struggle of chemical dependency and chemical abuse. We thank you for the ability to heal us from the trauma of alcoholism, of drug addiction. We thank you for the ability to transcend the thoughts of suicide, the thoughts of depression. We thank you for the magnification of our freedom and our emotional intelligence and our emotional sovereignty. We thank you for the ability to be in this place of understanding the victim within us, to understand our relationship with our moms and our dads, and for this ability to be the playful child, the mystical child, the fearless child inside of us. And we allow for ourselves to be in relationship again, knowing that you have blessed us in the seen and unseen parts, knowing that you have allowed for us to be infinitely prosperous, that you have blessed us and that we are the lender and not the borrower, that you have allowed for our wealth to grow and our influence to grow, that you have blessed every single one of us here in this prayer, that you have allowed for the fear of financial insecurity to dissolve, and instead that you have allowed for the prayer to go out and to transform lives. We thank you for the increase of our lodge, the increase of our influence. We thank you that you have blessed us more than we can imagine, that you have loosened us from the place of inability to see vision, but instead that you have blessed us with vision, that you have allowed for us to be in this prayer place, knowing that you have blessed our medical field, that you have blessed every single nurse, every single doctor, that you have made a way for them to feel love and rejuvenated, that you have blessed the families that have lost family members due to the COVID. We thank you for this quarantine. We thank you for the relatives that have been here during this quarantine. And we thank you for the ability to be blessed in this good way, that we may magnify this prayer, that we may allow for ourselves to enter into this limitless place of potentiality, that we may grow as a community and birth a culture of nonviolence and simple communication from the heart. We thank you for the ability to be inside of our heart center, to open up our chakras, to allow for our energy source to align itself, that we may be the magnification of the beauty of infinite potential in this world. We thank you for the hunger for healthy food. We thank you for the hunger in our body for nourishment. We thank you for the ability to exercise and to have rejuvenation of energy. We thank you for a youthful spirit. We thank you for the ability to see our grandchildren grow old. We thank you for the ability to be in a place in which we are able to hug and love our grandchildren. We thank you for the ability to love our children and to love our whole family like that, or our community. We thank you for our communities. Oh, we thank you for blessing the Sacred Seven, blessing the books that are even being born out of this ministry, that you have blessed the lives of the people that are here. And I just feel this encouragement that I see this dove, this little white dove, and this dove is being played with by a little girl, a little daughter. She's holding the dove and petting the dove. And this dove is a representation of a grandma, a grandpa. And this little child is playing with this dove and just knowing that that dove is a symbol of peace. And I'm praying for a gift of reconciliation in a relationship of a grandmother and a granddaughter. There's been some distancing there because of chemical abuse, maybe alcoholism. And inside of this place, I'm praying for that relationship to be rejuvenated, because there's some parts of that relationship that are very beautiful, even in the dysfunction. And I know that maybe there's a person that's out there that needs to hear that, but encouragement in the place of navigating those relationships is my prayer today, as I see into this vision place of this intimate relationship now. I believe that the loosening of that prayer upon the earth is a place in which I allow myself to transcend the limitation of my own mind, but instead to reconcile to that place of limitless potential. So give thanks for all those that are listening to this prayer, and I pray that you would apply that in your life, however it is that you see that you need it. And I give courage to you in your place of doubt, and I just want you to know that your faith will overcome your fear, and your ability is so much more than you even understand. That the Creator God, the infinite universe loves you, the Goddess loves you, the holiness of this earth loves you. Understand that beyond even the religion. Understand it in the comfort of your own spirit. You know, that part of you that was broken in the religion, that part of you that was broken in the church society and everything else, that has nothing to do with your relationship to God. Your relationship to God is solid. You allow for God to be your navigation system. And I want you to know that I'm proud of you. And I know that you know this inside of your spirit, but sometimes it feels very challenging to know that you're perfect and beautiful just the way you are, but you are. You're perfect and beautiful just the way you are. And I want you to know also that there's a love out there for you, that place inside of you to serve a beloved, to be there for a husband, to be there for a wife, to have a relationship again in your life. It's something that that the Creator sees and the Creator honors. And as you begin to allow yourself to manifest that gravity, to hold that space, not just for another person, but for the optimal person, the person that you know in your spirit is going to help you evolve. That's the person that the Creator has designed since the foundations of the earth for you. And it is the person that you will receive in your life. And that loneliness that's inside of you, it'll be a thing of the past. And you'll be in a place in which you can humbly rest your head and just know that you are loved. And also in the courage of leaving a relationship that you know is dysfunctional, I want you to understand that that courage is a gift that you give to your family. It's a gift that you give to them as they look at you and they see a person that was bold enough to break the chains of captivity. There's someone out there that needs to hear that. Even if you're in that place of abuse and you're in that place of disconnect, I want you to know that it is courage that allows for the divorce to happen, that allows for the end of that relationship to manifest. And if it isn't working for you in the place inside of your heart, that you know that you're able to receive love. Understand that that limitless potential inside of you is the choice of your own heart. You are in a place in which your heart has desired transformation. It has desired to be free from the captivity. And I want you to know that I encourage you in that. And I see the years of pushing that voice down. And I see the ability for you to densely create that trauma inside of you. And sometimes you've been in your lonely place and you've wanted to share from your heart. And what has happened to you is something that is what the nature of abuse is. You know, to shut that down, to traumatize that little child inside of you. You know, that child's voice that's inside of you that wants to speak, that wants to share, even vision, that wants to share with your loved one, and your loved one just keeps talking down to you and keeps telling you that you're not worth anything and that your life is worthless and all of this. This is the control of that abuse, and it's time for you to break free. And if you need help to break that relationship, if you need prayer, just reach out to me or Monica and we'll help support you in that. You know, this time that we're in is a time of incubating the vision, and there's a vision for your life. God has a plan for you. You know, there's a plan for the Creator, the very earth, the air, the water, the fire, all of your relations, the spiritual ones, the holy ones, the angels. They're all around you. And they want you to know that there's a guidance system inside of you that is so beautiful and so perfect. And it's time to begin to listen to your intuition again. Your intuition started telling you to leave that relationship, started telling you a long time ago to get out. But yet that person inside of you that allowed for that abusive voice to come in, to tell you that it's not right, it's time to end that voice. It's time to be free again. I want you to know that I love you and I'm proud of you for your decisions, for making your life relational again, for having the courage to get outside of the captivity and the limits, and to encourage yourself to be that courageous child inside of you. That one that would jump off the cliffs into the water, that one that would play in the ocean, that one that would swim out way deep. That's the time that we're in right now, to encourage that process. And everything inside of you is beautiful. Everything inside of you is perfect. Once we allow for the dissolving of the distractions and the confusions. I want you to know that I love you guys. Thank you so much for joining. Again, here, if you want to partner with our ministry, reach the lives of people that are incarcerated, people that are struggling, I would love to send you this book. This book is it's my own personal journey with the transformational energy of the ceremonial introduction. There's a guidebook here to help you understand how to fortify your greatest optimal self. That fortification of the greatest optimal self inside of you displaces the energies that no longer serve. Those relationships that are broken will fade away, and you will find yourself in that place of love again. You deserve it. I want to send you the book, signed copy of the book. If you'd like a signed copy, they're $27. We send another copy to a person in prison when you purchase a signed copy. If you can't afford a signed copy, we'll send you one for free. Just sign up for our mailing list. You'll get a PDF copy. Any size donation during our lives. We'll send you an audiobook copy of the book. That's one that you can listen to. We'll be done with that this week. Super excited. Thank you so much for joining me here in this prayer. This really helps me in my life, and I hope it helps you. Please share, get this message out. Also, we have a YouTube channel where you can go and watch these. Every day I come on here and share an encouraging message and some prayer. So give thanks to all of you. Thank you. Beauty above, beauty below, beauty beside, beauty in front, beauty behind, beauty within. We are made beautiful again.